Once a point is won when the other team is serving, you must rotate one position in a clockwise direction. If a team is stood in the wrong location at the time the serve commences or the wrong person serves the ball, the other team will be awarded the point. A referee would indicate this by straightening their arm at a 45-degree angle towards the floor on the side that is at fault. The referee would then make small circle motions to indicate that a rotation area has occurred. When serving in volleyball, it is illegal to step on or over the baseline during the serve. The baseline are the two lines that form each end of the volleyball court. The officials that are normally in charge of the side and baselines are the line judges. If a line judge or even referee spots a player stepping on or over the line when serving, they would indicate this in the following way. The official would point down at the offending line to indicate that a line violation has occurred. Lift or carry is called if the ball comes to rest on a player for a prolonged period of time. A carry would be called if the ball visibly changes motion or direction while still in control of a player. A referee would should an illegal hit has occurred by doing the following. The referee would place their forearm out in the front of them with their palm facing upwards. The referee would then move their palm upwards to signify an illegal hit has occurred. Once the referee has blown the whistle to initiate the start of the rally, a player has 8 seconds to serve the ball. If for whatever reason the player takes longer than the allocated 8 seconds, the referee will award the point to the other team for the delay in service. A referee will show this has occurred by raising their hand with a flat, open hand before awarding the point to the opposing team. In volleyball, you are not allowed to reach over the net to attack the ball. However, there are actually quite a few exceptions to this rule. You are allowed to reach over the net to play the ball if the opposition have used their 3 allocated touches, hence why you are allowed to press a block over the net. You can also reach over and attack the ball if the ball is traveling on your side and there is no possibility of the opposing team to play the ball again. A referee would indicate that a hand over or over the net has occurred by placing their arm over the top of the net when stood on the podium or steps. If the referee is not stood on the referee stand, they may use their arm vertically to create a net whilst placing their arm horizontally over the top to indicate the same thing. In volleyball, you actually can touch the net providing it does not affect the rally or play of the game. With that being said, there are few situations in which someone touching the net wouldn't affect the run of play. Just to clarify, a net violation includes the net and antenna. If a net fault occurs, the referee would take their hand on the side in which the net fault occurred and place their hand gently on the net to indicate the fault. In volleyball, if a player is back row, they are not allowed to attack the ball from in front of the 3-meter or 10-foot line unless they jump from behind the line. Which brings me back to my previous point, if the attack is fine and legal, then play would continue as planned until the point is won. My best guess for this call is when further referees are involved in a game and they may instantly signal this if the attack is legal, much like how an official basketball signifies if the shot is taken behind the 3-meter line or how the officials throw the towel when a player enters the end zone in football. Based on the picture attached, an official would indicate a legal back row attack by placing their arm at shoulder height and waving it directly down whilst keeping the arm straightened. When focusing on the ball, it is very difficult to judge exactly where the dividing line is, and as such, an illegal back row attack may occur. It is also illegal to attack the ball from above the height of the net directly from a serve. This is to prevent people from jumping up and trying to block or spike the serve back. Both of these faults would be shown in the same way by the official. The official would raise their forearm, only keeping the upper arm horizontal at shoulder level. From this position, the official would rotate their arm at the elbow, making a downward waving motion. Now this may come as a surprise to you, as you will often see players from the serving team grouping at the net and raising their arms to restrict the receiving team's view. However, screening or blocking the line of sight is actually illegal in volleyball. With that being said, there is a rather loose interpretation of this rule. What I mean by this is players are allowed to group together and raise their arms as long as the receiving team has a clear line of sight to the server and or service path. This means as long as the serving team adopt normal base positions, then a screen fault would not occur. So based on this, you may be wondering when exactly an illegal block or screen call will occur. Whilst it is allowed for players to group together and raise their arms, it is absolutely not allowed for players to move with the receiving players to ensure their side remains obstructed, nor is it allowed for a player on the serving team to line up directly in front of the server to restrict the receiving player's view. If this was to happen, the referee would indicate that an illegal screen has occurred by raising both hands upwards to head height, forming and showing open palms towards the court. When a ball is hit by the attacking side, it is quite common for the blockers or defenders to get a touch on the ball. It is important for officials to notice this, as if the ball was to land out after a touch from the blockers or defenders, the attacking team would be awarded the point. This is known as touch out or ball touched. An official would indicate that the ball has been touched and gone out by placing one hand up and out in front of them. With their other hand, they would brush their fingers upwards. This shows the ball touching someone and then coming off them and out. Each team is allowed 3 hits or contact from when the ball crosses the net to the point in which it must be returned back over the net. The only exception to this rule is when a player blocks the ball. This does not count as a touch towards the team 3 touches. It also does not count as a touch for the individual player. This means a player can block the ball and then play it a second time without committing a fault. There are many situations in which this may occur. The most common one that springs to mind is sometimes when a player attacks the ball on a third hit. Sometimes it actually bounces off the net band as opposed to being blocked. If the team that just hit the ball touches it again after it comes off the net band, this would be 4 touches. This is actually one of the more obvious calls in volleyball team, in the sense that an official indicates this fault by simply holding up 4 fingers on one hand. Although each team gets 3 contacts before the ball must be returned with the exception of the blocking rule as mentioned before, a player cannot contact the ball twice simultaneously. What I mean by this is if a player receives the ball from the opposition, another player must touch the ball before the player that first received it can touch it again. This rule is the bane of every setter to have ever played the game. When hand setting, it is very easy to double contact the ball. If the ball doesn't enter or leave the hands at the exact time, an official will often call a double contact. A referee would indicate that a double touch has occurred by simply showing 2 up on one hand, much like the hippie peace sign. When a ball lands in, a point is awarded to the team who was able to ground the ball on the opposition side and between the lines. Obviously, an official needs a way of indicating whether the ball landed in or out of the court, especially in situations where it is tight to the line and could go either way. An official would indicate that the ball landed in court by placing their arm at a 45-degree angle between the hip and shoulder and then pointing with their full arm and hand to the side in which the ball has landed on. If the ball lands out of bounds or touches the aerial, the opposing team would be awarded the point. Just to clarify, out of bounds encapsulates a few different things. The ball is considered out of bounds if it lands outside the court lines, contacts the net outside the antenna, the supporting or guide ropes of the net, or the post and referee stand. If the ball lands out of bounds or contacts the aerial, the official would show this by bending both forearms upwards so the fingers are pointing towards the sky with their arms out in front of them. It is important that every player on the court understands when the serve is about to come. In volleyball, it is illegal to serve without the official signaling the start of the rally. The first referee would signal the start of the rally and indeed the start of the serve by blowing the whistle and waving their hand from the server's side to the receiving team side. After timeout or even before the new sets are about to start, the teams must line up along the sideline where the referee stand is located. Once the officials and both teams are ready to commence play, the referee will blow the whistle and wave their hand towards the center of the court. This signifies to the players that they may enter the court. I must admit, I think this hand sign is somewhat fluid as I have personally seen officials wave my team and the other team into the court by using both hands. In times in which the decision can go either way or in fact just to make the decision clear to all spectators, the official is able to show which side has been awarded a point. A referee would indicate which team has won the point simply by placing the arm of the side that has won the point out horizontally to point in the direction of the winning side. A replay or let is shown for different reasons in volleyball. Where multiple games are being played at a time, occasionally, balls or even players may enter a different court. This not only causes a health and safety risk to the players on court, but can also lead to obstruction or hindrance. In these situations, the fairest and safest option is to halt play and replay the point. I have also seen lets used when the direction or the decision is too tight to call. For example, if there has been a net touch but both players appear to touch the net at the same time. The referee would show a let or replay of the point by putting both thumbs up on either side of the net. If a team wants to sub in a player, they must follow a simple process. The player which is to be substituted in will be given the number of the player that they are to replace. The coach will mention to the referee that they would like to substitute a player. The player who is being subbed in will stand on the side of the court by the side of the referee and hold up a paddle with the number of the player they are replacing. The referee will show that a substitution is taking place by placing their arms horizontally one over the other. They will then rotate their arms in a spin cycle motion to signify that a swap or rotation in the lineup has occurred. If the correct process is not followed, the player does not wait for the referee to confirm the substitution of a player, replaces the wrong person, an illegal substitution call would be shown. An official would show this by placing one arm up vertically above their head and then rotating it around.